All right, guys. Welcome to the KGB Live Show with your host, Brother Kabir.
Yes.
I hope everyone's doing all right tonight. Guys, we have a great show for you guys tonight. We have a special guest on the show, Sara White, the late, great Reggie White's wife.
Yes.
She's going to be joining us here in a little bit, guys. So just give us a second here. We're going to go through our usual schedule. We're going to go through some announcements, and then we'll take a small break to allow time for us to get Sara on, and we will continue. So without further ado, so last week, guys, you guys already know the last Berean moment. Man, we're coming every day's closer. I guess every week's closer to the end of the season. So,
yes.
Guys, there is already rumors and talks about a season 2. So we won't disappoint. We won't disappoint. But yes, guys, go and check out the last Berean moment. This week coming up, we're going to have a new one on Wednesday, as you guys already know. Great Shabbat message from Pastor last week. Awesome message. He came back. Obviously, he was back from his trip.
I don't know if it counted because it was a transitional. It was a transitional sermon, so it doesn't count.
Guys, if you guys missed it, and if you guys want to know more, but if you guys missed it, Pastor Dow was talking about, I guess, the truth of the lunar Sabbath, or debunking the lunar Sabbath. If you guys are in the truth, you guys know that's a subject that you guys might be running across. If you want more information on that, great information, go check it out. Also, Sister to Sister show was great, like always.
Always.
Let's say they're batting 500. We can't say 1,000 because Pastor's he's batting 1,000.
But they follow Pastor down. So
okay, we'll give
1,000. I ask Sister Ashley and Sister Jennifer.
It's all good.
They're batting 1,000. It's my favorite show.
Yes,
one of
sir.
my favorite shows.
But yeah, so I guess anything else that I'm missing, Brother Kabir, from last week?
Well, last week we had a straightway Praise Line. We had a lot of people here. We had your brother here.
Yes, sir, my brother from
Minnesota. We had Sister Maya, and it was pretty packed house. We got Brother Tyler, obviously here, a regular. So it was packed. I mean, we ended up for the Shabbat. We stayed up late. Shabbat evening. We stayed up just praising, listening to a lot. It was kind of like wasn't like an African theme.
Oh yeah, we had
with the food and then we had praise and worship. People singing to Yahweh. We were just up dancing. I mean, praise and worshiping. I mean, we went to bed late, so it was a great time. Breaking the sweat, and we did it again that morning before the Shabbat service. So it was a great service. So we continue to grow. We got seriously minded people, and I think next week we have more people coming. So we may have to go into the gym, into Straightway Praise Land's gym eventually here. So we are growing. And it was a great Shabbat. Great Shabbat.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that, Brother Kabir. Well, guys, we're going to take a small 5-minute break here just to give us enough time to get everything set up here. Be ready to stay around a little bit. I think you'll enjoy this show. We're going to get just a beautiful inside look at, from Sara's perspective of everything that happened with the late, great Reggie White. So stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back shortly. All right, guys, welcome back to the KGB Live Show. Guys, we have Sara White in the building. Brother Kabir, take it away there, sir.
All right, guys, the name of the show, what episode is this? Episode 14?
Episode 14.
14, Who Was Reggie to Me? So we have the wife of the late, great Reggie White with us today. And I just wanted to thank Sara for doing the show with me. I remember her coming out to Straightway Praise Land. I think it was a month ago or two, and she said that she would be willing to do a show with us. So I'm thankful that she is honored that commitment, and also just going to give her an opportunity to basically tell her story of being with the what Reggie meant to her and how he was an inspiration to her. And so Sara, can you hear me, Sara?
I can. How are you, Kabir? So good to see you, brother.
Nice seeing you as well. Nice seeing you. I was glad to have you on the show. How are you? So I know you got back. You've been out of the country for a while, so I'm glad to see that you're back alive and you're doing well. So hallelujah.
Yes, it is good to be home. There's no place like home, as Dorothy said.
That's true. That's it.
And instead of Toto, I have Mochi.
Mochi. Okay.
That's Jeremy's dog. My grand dog.
Now we don't. And now Jeremy gave us the Obama. I'm curious to see what your talent is. The Obama. I don't know if you're Michelle. No, I'm just joking. But hey, Sara. So could you please, for our viewers here, not everybody knows Reggie. Some people know, but if you can just kind of just introduce yourself to us and just tell us about yourself. Just assuming that a lot of people don't know, but there's a lot of people that we try to inform about you.
Yeah. So how much do you want to know? You want me to start with my, elementary days? I'm
going to ask
stripping days. I'm not sure where you want me to go.
Just a executive summary.
Executive summary. Jeremy just looked at me like I was crazy. Because that's a joke. Yeah, it was a funny story when we met people for the first time, especially pastors. They said, how did you guys meet? Well, I said, well, I was a stripper. And he came to get me saved, and he brought me out of it. But that's not the truth. And this is live, so you can't, Okay, so I'm from Cleveland and moved to Tennessee, and we end up meeting in Tennessee. I was a senior in high school. He was a freshman in college, and we became very good friends. And our focus was Jesus, and that's what brought us together. And everybody that are listening, I think most of our audience today are in Torah or want to be in Torah. So in that respect, when we think about Jesus, the church today, being out of the, church, we don't think the positive, but you know what? Jesus brought Reggie and I together. So I'm happy for that name, Jesus, even though his name is Yeshua. And then of course we got married in 85, January of 85, and stayed married for 20 years and was looking forward to Jacoya graduating from high school before he passed away. And we were going to be one of those parents that showed up at their colleges with their names on our bus. We had a 45-footer bus that we traveled because we ministered, and we were looking forward to those days, just to embarrass our children.
So you did you, when you said you moved to Tennessee, were you in when you were in high school? Were you at Tennessee? Were you in Tennessee, or you moved to Tennessee from Ohio? So
unfortunately, I grew up in Cleveland until my senior year. Right before my senior year of high school, my dad was transferred to Knoxville, where University of Tennessee is. And Reggie was a freshman, 1980, and I still had one more year, so I was in high school in Knoxville. So that's how we met.
You had met at church or at school? Because he's in college.
Yeah. So we actually met in church because of a mutual friend. We both were trying to get saved.
Okay.
And she said, "Oh, I have a friend for you to meet." I think she just wanted us to stop trying to get her saved, which was the truth. And she introduced us, and we became friends. And from then on, we were friends until we got married.
Wow. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So did you guys end up going to the same college? Did you end up going to the same college as Reggie?
No, I actually went to East Tennessee State, about 100 miles away, and actually near here where I am now in Charlotte. It's called Appy State or Appalachian State, but I went to East Tennessee State in Johnson City, and it's just about 100 miles from Knoxville. So
Now-
yeah, so
now,
we
was
got
he
to see each other.
When he was a freshman, was he a big football star at that time, or were you aware if he was a big football star? Or was he just a guy you met at church that's just trying to get saved, or did you know anything about his talents?
No, you know what? That's a good question. I'm not even sure what his stats were his freshman year because I was in high school. Didn't really follow football except in my other high school as a cheerleader, but I'm not sure how good. I'm not even sure. That's a good question. But no, he was just a man that was a friend that happened to play football at UT. I had no clue about University of Tennessee, Knoxville. I had no clue people bleeded orange and white for real. And I never went to any of his college games because I was in the band. In the band, we marched during our football games, and I was busy with my life at ETSU. And, you know, I didn't realize it until he came like my junior year. He came a couple of times for Campus Crusade for Christ and for FCA, and I was in Black Affairs, and he came and spoke to the students. I think he was a junior, I was a sophomore the first time. And people really didn't get all giddy about him. They just said how nice he was. And my girlfriends, because I lived in a dorm, they would say, "Oh my gosh, he's so nice. He's so sweet. He'd make a good husband." I said, "Well, I'll introduce you to him because he wants 12 children."
Wow, he said that?
He wanted 12 by the time. So I was that's about the third year. He told me he wanted 12 children.
Wow.
I said, "Okay, good luck with you and your wife."
Wow.
And all of my friends always said, "I can see you guys together." And I was like, okay, 12 children. That was in the back of my mind, front of my mind, on the side. I wanted about 4 to 5 kids.
Wow.
But so later on, he actually, as when we, kind of got together, he said 6. I said, okay, that's fine. So.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, Sarah, I got to tell you a little secret. It's my goal to have 12 children. And that's so me and Reggie seem like we have a lot in common there. That is crazy. Wow.
Wait a minute, what's up with the number 12? I got to figure out what does 12 mean?
I just did with the tribe of Israel. They had 12 tribes. I don't know.
That's true. Hey, which we didn't really know back then, but 12 was significant, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So eventually you guys got married, and so what was like? I mean, how did Reggie? How did you guys decide to get married, and then obviously start because he didn't go straight into the NFL. I think he played Canadian League football. Can you say that?
No.
Oh, okay.
So my senior year, I am graduating. I am planning to graduate May of 1985. And in January of 85, I would be getting commissioned as a second lieutenant because I was going through ROTC.
Oh, yes. I remember this. Yes, yes.
So November of 84, he comes home I come home to visit in Knoxville. We're engaged. We planned on getting married in July of 85, the day in between my sister's anniversary and my mom and dad's anniversary. So we're going to get married July 28th of 85. I've been graduated, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And he convinced me, "Oh, come on, let's get married in January." Well, little did I know, this is what you were saying. They had a supplemental draft, and I'm not sure when, for the USFL. And this was season 2. Reggie was drafted to the Memphis Showboats. So it started in January of 85. I was oblivious to everything. I didn't know anything about the draft. I didn't know why he wanted to get married in January. But then it all came about, we talked and talked. I said, "I tell you what, if I can transfer my credits to Memphis State because we're both state schools and I can graduate on time. No problem. My dad was livid. My dad put me through the ringer. He said, I can't believe that you're not graduating. You're getting married before you graduate. I said, but Dad. So after I did my investigation, so I called 3 different people, 3 different administrators at Memphis State. And all 3 of them, 3 different people said, oh yeah, Miss Copeland, you have no problem graduating. We're on state schools, we're semesters, you know, you're aligned. You even have more, you know, upper division hours. You're okay. I said, okay, well, God, this must be you, right? You know, we said, okay, Lord, this must be you. So I told Reggie, I said, okay, we can get married. This is November. Well, we get married January 5th. I go to school, you know, when school starts, like the second week of January, the semester. They said, I don't know who you spoke to. I bet you she was saying little girl, but there's no way you're going to come here the last semester thinking that you're going to graduate with a Memphis State degree and only take 12 hours because that's all the hours I really needed to have my degree. So I was like, really? But I spoke to da-da-da-da-da-da. And I promise you, it must have been some angels on the other side of the phone telling me what I needed to hear. So that because I wasn't about to go up there in January, leave school and live with him. You understand? And he knew not even to ask. He said, can we move it up to January instead of July? And all I could think was, okay, Father, this has to be your will. So I end up I got a double bachelor's degree in marketing and management, and graduated from Memphis State and got commissioned. I did get commissioned on time, April of '85. I ended up getting commissioned from Memphis State as a second lieutenant.
Okay. Wow. So that's amazing. And I remember you telling me that you were in the military, or you were doing. Is that ROTC or that was?
What's the ROTC is the forum where you get your commission.
Yes.
To become, of course, you have to graduate college to become an officer.
Okay.
Or you can go to officer candidate school.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, yes, that's amazing. So when you guys, basically you guys get married, and then when you guys got married, did you go serve, or did you decide to be more a Reggie White's wife and build a family with him? How was that? I mean, I guess I don't know how close that was to his professional career. I mean, he was already in the pros by this time, right? But
he's so at this time he's with the USFL in Memphis. Okay. Now, remember, I hadn't graduated yet, and I was commissioned, and then I didn't graduate, but I was still commissioned, and I still had an obligation to start. Well, funny that you say that, because this is another thing that I know is God. I was in finance, and there was a need for finance for my MOS. Okay. There was a need for my MOS at that time. There was a demand. Now, I didn't have to go full time, but I had planned on going active duty because I wasn't planning on getting married. It wasn't like I owed the Army. I had to go. You know how some people take a scholarship or grants or whatever, and you have to pay back that by serving. No, my choice was to serve the country and go active duty. And that's what I had noted back in the beginning of my senior year, that I had planned on going active after I was commissioned. So I called my colonel at ROTC at East Tennessee State, and I said, look, I'm getting married, and I won't be able to go active duty. What do I need to do? He said, Sarah, you committed to it. And of course, we teach, you make a commitment, you go through. I said, okay, I tell you what, I'm going to just let it fall as God's will. He wasn't a Christian, but, I knew my faith. So, and Reggie, of course, at this time really didn't understand the government like that, the Army and your commitments and stuff. How about January 3rd, I got a call from my colonel, my commander. He said, Sarah, they approved you to be in the reserves, which meant all I now had to do was do 1 weekend a month and about 20 days of active duty a year, which was really nothing compared to active duty. So I was delivered from going active duty, and I just did reserves and National Guard. So I did that, and Reggie was fine with it.
That's good. That's good. No, well, so okay, so that's an amazing story. But he married a military woman. That's our pastor. Our pastor is served in the Army too. So 10 years as an airborne. But so you guys have something in common there. But anyway, so let me ask you this. So basically, now you're married. You was able to lessen the times in the military. You married Reggie White. Now Reggie White is with the Mississippi Showboats. I think I said that right.
Memphis Showboats.
He's already told you that he wants 12 children, so you're trying to get ready for that. Trying to get your body ready for that, right? So now, if you could just kind of just tell me, just like, how long did he play for? I mean, I think he played for the USFL for like what, 2 or 3 years before he eventually went to the Philadelphia Eagles. Am I correct?
So we stayed for 1 year because they folded.
Okay.
So this first year where Steve Young and them played, Reggie was still in college. And then the second year, Reggie came. And then at the supplemental draft for the NFL, which I don't know when that was, he was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles. Mm-hmm. So after the season, so we got married in January of '85. The season was over in the summer sometime. And then when we found out there was going to be no more USFL, then Harry Gamble from the Eagles called and said, okay, it's time. We drafted you in the supplemental draft to come to the Eagles. And then we ended up there in October, I think. October, in which he had a short year, and he really did great. I don't know what the stats was, but he did really great. He should have been Rookie of the Year in comparison, with his numbers, but people didn't know who he was. So if you look at the numbers and how many games he played that year in '85 with the Eagles, in comparison to the rest of the league, he should have been Rookie of the Year, but I'm biased. So then we moved to New Jersey, right outside of Philly. And then had my second child. Mm-hmm. I had my first one in Memphis, and then my second one in Jersey.
Okay. So Jeremy's the oldest.
Jeremy is the oldest.
Okay. Jeremy's the oldest. Okay. So now, so let me ask you this. Everybody wants to know, like, so what was Reggie to you? I mean, everybody obviously know Reggie is the Minister of Defense and the sack master on the football field. What was Reggie? We have had some talks, and I'm so glad that I'm having you on my show here. But what was Reggie White? What was the real Reggie White that people wouldn't know that you can share just from a White's perspective? That you got to see a different scene that most people didn't get to see of Reggie White.
Well, the funny thing is, all his friends knew who Reggie was, and our wonderful friends from each city that we lived in, whether it's Jersey, Tennessee, or Green Bay, had great friends, still friends today. And maybe they didn't know, and maybe they did because they might have heard a minister, but he was really very sentimental and very, he did not take confrontation good. He didn't want people fighting. He was very sweethearted. He was, he couldn't handle, believe it or not, he couldn't handle the press talking about him. I had to keep the newspapers from him if something went bad that weekend. He was just sensitive. That's the word. Thank you. He was sensitive. He was very sensitive. But I think you could feel that even though he had authority on the field, he had authority, in the pulpit, he had authority with the children. He had authority over the teens. When we ministered in the streets, he had authority. I think still, if you listen to him and watched him with the kids on the street, the sensitivity, his sensitivity came out. So he was very sensitive, very, very sensitive.
And it's amazing because I remember when we talked and when I reached out to you and you got back to me, when you told me that, how sensitive he was. And I was like, wow, so on the exterior, you'll think this is a, tough guy. I mean, he was a tough guy, but he had a tender heart about him. And I think, in so many ways, I'm kind of like that too.
Well, that's what, I was going to say.
What are you going to say?
No, absolutely. I'm saying you're the same way, Kabir.
Yeah, and I think that somebody will probably read somebody like a Reggie White or myself because of our size. Reggie White was much bigger than me, but I met the man in my pads, and I remember him still being bigger than me. But anyway, exactly that. Yeah, I digress. But anyway, so let me ask you this, Steph, and I appreciate you sharing that because that's one of the things I was going to ask you about to share that. I remember you saying that sometimes you even had to hide the paper from him just because of how that bothered him a lot and everything. So let me ask you this. So when you were so in the beginning of your relationship, what was there any difference? So as you guys was going through life, and obviously he played this career. You was and I think what's so unique about you, Sarah, is when I was I went through my situation, but I was just so amazed on how you supported Reggie White during his career, life after his career, even in his transition. But what was it like being the wife of Reggie White? I'm just going from my own personal experience being married, and I know my wife struggled with my fame and had to, I guess, you in the NFL, you probably use this word, sharing your husband with the world and things of that nature. How was that for you? Was that very hard to share Reggie with the world?
Okay, let's take that back one at a time. 1, 2, 3. You had a mouthful there.
Yeah. Okay.
There's different ones. So the first one is, what would you say the first question is? How did you handle Reggie White's fame? How was while he was playing?
Yeah, while he was playing, how was that for you?
Actually, I don't think he really knew how much fame he really had. I think in the beginning, in Philadelphia, I think he wanted more from his teammates, the respect from his teammates than he did from the public, And so I think he was probably more focused on gaining that type of reputation than the fame in the streets. I think when maybe our third year of playing with Philly is when we understood how much notoriety he had, because we would do youth camps and youth things, and everybody and their mama showed up, and we hardly advertised. So I think that was an indication that he really was famous. He never really looked at himself as being famous. So we would go to these places, and our kids are with us everywhere, and we'll meet these actors or actresses, and they'll come up to Reggie like, "Oh, you're Reggie White, blah blah blah," and me and Reggie are looking like, "Oh, and you're so and so and so and so," and they're all excited, and everybody want to take a picture. Mm-hmm. So I think because in your element, that is your job, and these actors and actresses, that's their job, and they don't consider themselves, famous to a degree where they're untouchable. So Reggie's always been touchable, which meant that he didn't bring that fame at home. Because you know what? He took off his pants one leg at a time, like everybody else. And I'm going to tell you, when we first got married, I'm going to tell you women who are not married, you first get married, listen, if you don't want to pick up after your husband for forever, for a lifetime, when he takes his clothes off, they need to get to the laundry basket if they want to be washed. And so that was the best thing this woman told me. And, men, I'm sorry to categorize, but sometimes when you take off things, you just leave them somewhere where they are. And I learned at an early age, the first year of marriage, I walked over that. And if he needed it, if he needed it washed, I said, you know what? You got to get it in the laundry basket. So you got to train them early.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm joking about the
yeah.
No.
So okay, I'm glad you. So Reggie White, and man, I feel like I'm gonna let you tell the story. So Reggie White is just obviously, and you can tell that so much his faith played such a huge part. How how, Sarah, in our industry, you have this persona. You have the Minister of Defense. But was Reggie White really a man of faith, even behind closed doors? Was his relationship with Jesus Christ as important behind closed doors as it was in public?
Okay, Kabir, you already know that answer.
I know, but I know the answer for the people. This is for the people.
Okay, for you people,
yes,
who has never ever, I'm gonna say anybody out there that has never ever seen Reggie White or heard him talk or anything. Oh my gosh, he was more so. His walk, he did not waver. It's like me, Kabir. If you see me, I am who I am. I haven't changed since high school. I've grown, but my characteristics haven't changed. Reggie was committed to the word so much that he overdid it sometimes because he didn't want to disobey the word. It's like the oral laws. They did the oral laws because they love their people. People don't understand. That's why the oral laws were given. They didn't do it to make a stumbling blocks to their people. They did it because they really did not. It's like when we tell our children, hey, don't touch the stove, you'll get burnt. Well, will they if it's off? No. But we love our kids so much that we want to warn them, do not touch the stove because it may be on and they may get burnt. Well, Reggie was like that with the word. What you saw him in public, he was double at home because it was now his family that he was protecting. So yes, absolutely, his walk was stronger at home.
So when and I knew this, and I got to ask some of these questions before I get into the meat of it. So, what was like your fondest memory of Reggie, the late Reggie White? What was your fondest memory that you remember that you missed about Reggie White now when you look back on it?
All the jokes, I think. The things that I miss is, I would say, his personality, his joking, his I think ministering with him. Truly, I really miss ministering with him and seeing people's lives change. And when our kids started growing up and I saw them starting to help kids in their own way, that excited me because, that was what we were all about, helping people. So I think the ministry with him and I think just, just the funness that we had, not every day, but a few times a week, just the way we related as a family. But the ministry, I think, ministering with him, I miss that a lot because I miss the people. I miss being with the people too.
Hallelujah. One of the things that I saw an interview of Reggie White where he was actually transparent and, just being a person behind the scenes myself. He mentioned how before he came into the truth that he basically regurgitated a lot of the sermons that he heard when he was speaking or just tell his testimony or being a good motivational speaker. Can you just give us a little bit insight of what he was saying there from your own perspective?
Yeah, you know what? Interesting enough. When he was licensed at 17, then he started studying the word more for himself when he was in his 20s, more married, right? He did study, but at the same time, he trusted a lot of men and he went on what they told him and then he went further. So correct. He regurgitated the traditional sermons with a Reggie flair, until of course he discovered Torah, and then that's when it just stopped. He just stopped, and then we went to a theological seminary and took Hebrew to learn the ancient Hebrew from the beginning, and then it just took off from there.
Wow. So, Sarah, now when he transitioned, this is where I just think that you have a beautiful story, and I'm just really excited to hear what you have to say. But there's a lot, obviously, my story. My wife did leave. I didn't have the type of support that Reggie had from his family, like a wife like yourself or the children. And it sounds like he even had some support with people that were very close to him. But he did experience a lot of persecution from a lot of other people. But there's a lot of people that are, I was just talking to a brother who reached out to me through Facebook, and he just came into the way, and his wife left him, and he's dealing with the situation. Do I fight for my children? What do I do? But I guess just, you're a woman, and I know that Reggie kind of came into this stuff. When he came into this thing of, keeping the commandments and going back to the Hebrewic roots and everything. Please, if you can share, how did that impact you from a wife's perspective? Did you say, okay, good, we're going to go ahead and do this? Did you kick back a little bit? Can you please share with the audience what type of stuff how did that affect you as he was going through his transition and coming to the truth?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because as you already know, being ex-military, right? Strong-headed woman that I am. First of all, I trusted Reggie from because we grew up together. We got married young and we grew up together as adults. So I trusted him with the word, but I learned for myself. I didn't depend on him solely for the word. When he wanted to transition, I said, okay, let's see what that looks like. And in my mind, but I saw him studying, and I knew it was real. And I went to Israel with him, and I kind of felt nudged too that something's not right here, what we're doing. So even though he took the step out first, I think I was already probably knowing a couple of years prior to that we were probably going towards that, but I didn't know what that was. I didn't understand what that is. But then, so to say this is that as he got deeper and deeper, things were becoming literal, okay? And I think that's when he figured out he needed to understand the idioms, he needed to understand the culture, he needed to understand the history. Because when he started saying some things that I just didn't feel in my spirit, it wasn't that I guess I was a mature woman. You have to be mature to change. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, your wife wasn't mature enough, even though she was a Christian, she wasn't mature enough to listen and to study for herself, to see what you were looking at, instead of saying, praise God. Now Kabir is, getting into the word, then she wasn't able to look over, because the guys can be, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. It's like going, to ride a ride. And then after you ride the ride, you figure out, oh man, that ride was too fast. And that's how Reggie was. But I was patient enough to let him get through what he needed to get through without attacking him. And there was a couple of discussions that we had in private, because when he started, my entire family just transitioned into the Bible study. Now our church, our cell group now was in my house every week and 2 days a week and stuff like that. So, yeah, I feel really bad for you guys that want to do the truth. And the wife, I just don't understand. It's hard. It's hard for me to understand that, Kabir. But this too shall pass, and things will be revealed.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So now, and I kind of look at my story and Reggie White's story. The difference between me and him is Reggie at least had the children, and it sounds like he had, some people that you said that were close. but he did experience a form of persecution. And can you tell me, I mean, when you say persecution, I mean, was everybody that was close? Because I know he was even trying to do a community. I remember you telling me that he bought land and one time, I mean, Reggie was doing some stuff that I know our pastors, I mean, is literally doing now that he's been doing for a while too as well. But I guess, can you share that story a little bit? And just two questions to that. So who are the people persecuting him? Because, you know, a lot of people in this truth tend to get persecuted by their natural family. And so Reggie White is unique that you stayed, the children stayed, but he still experienced a lot of persecution. So who are the people that was persecuting that deeply hurt him?
Okay, so I think in the beginning when he started learning the truth. So what are you going to do? You're going to call the other pastors that are older than you, that's been in the word longer than you. And you're going to say, hey, I just got this revelation. I learned this, I learned that, blah, 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 blah. And the guy would be on the phone. It would say, yeah, I kind of knew that already. And they'll talk about it and do some midrashing. And then
Midrash.
Yeah,
yes.
They would midrash. Huh?
I'm thinking about Jeremy. Sorry.
They would midrash and everything's good. And then Reggie said, so when are you going to introduce this to your church? Because Reggie's thinking, hey, I just got this revelation. He just got this revelation. I'm incorporating it into my life and my people. Now, when are you going to do it? And they said, well, we're afraid to do it because we may lose our congregation. That hurt him really bad. Not only that, it continued to happen. Probably 8 pastors that he trusted, that he liked. And then the biggest thing I think is that a couple of people that he fellowshiped with here, who actually was into the historical part of the Bible, just thought Reggie was just going off the deep end and said he was a heretic because he wanted to obey the word. And that hurt his feelings too, because, you know, we had moved here to be part of this fellowship. And, you know, so in Tennessee, we bought 33 acres in 1995, maybe. And we had wanted to give all our friends and family an acre of land so that we can have a community, a farm, just like what you guys are doing the Straightway in Nashville. Same thing, because community is all about. Reggie and my daughter, Jacoya, is all about community. If Jacoya could have everybody around her in the same community, she would be just like the happiest person in the world. And that's how they are. I think community is important. But yeah, the persecution, as far as family, you know, the funny thing is his side of the family, they already knew that he was in love with the Lord. So when he started changing, they accepted it, which was a wonderful thing, you know, because he was already different. So just to add this on, they knew he studied. It was a great thing. I think he really was hurt by the people that was in the ministry that studied, it was really sad.
It was interesting because I was talking to and I won't mention his name, but a former teammate of Reggie White and a guy that actually mentored me off the field. He played, and I remember as I was going through this, he was a part of, you know, talking to my wife about my situation at the time. And I, you know, I was in a desperate situation, Sarah, but I reached out to him and said, hey, you know, I think this is what Reggie was talking about. And I'm just going to read what he texted me, but this is how they perceived him from this guy. But he says, yes, did Reggie White reach out to you about the Hebrew stuff? And his answer was yes. And he got bad advice and wouldn't listen to anyone because he was stiff-necked and prideful. That's what this. Wait
a minute, who was that said that? Okay, I guess we shouldn't name names.
I won't say his name, but I will tell you. I will most definitely tell you after the show. But he was a former teammate, lived in the Green Bay area for a while, where I got to know him, and that's what he was basically saying about me. And that's, you know, I think that's no one hasn't come out and said it to me in my face, but I'm assuming that's what they thought about Reggie White, because I was trying to figure out what did they tell me during the time about staying away from Reggie White. And I don't really remember anybody really saying anything, but this is the first time I really hear what they thought about him. And so I'm assuming that's what they're thinking of me, that I'm prideful, stiff-necked, and I'm not listening to anyone. So I'm a heretic, or I'm a part of a cult and things, because I don't know. Did they say anything about him being part of a cult too during that time? Because I don't even know. He was doing his own study. So could he have been? I mean, I guess I'm part of a group, but was he? Did they say he was part of a cult?
No, actually, they did not say he was part of a cult.
Okay.
Didn't get that one. But they did say he became Jewish, which was okay. Or then they always wanted to label us. Are you Jews for Jesus? Are you the Black Hebrewites? Are you, they always want the label. And I don't know, I think I was on I don't know, on TBN or something, and they said, well, what do you call yourself? I said, I'm a believer. I'm not labeling myself. I'm a believer. I am trying to study the word and obey the word of God. That's what I am, a believer, to understand that I'm part of the community that the Father made for us. And I'm just trying to be right. I'm just trying to serve God. And I don't want to be labeled. I hadn't wanted to be labeled since people started winning Emmys and Oscars, and they were saying, thank you, God, and Jesus. And then the next day you see them, on crack or something. I'm thinking, I mean, not to judge, but what Jesus are you serving? And this is before Torah. I had to stop calling myself a Christian, because then when you say you're a Christian and everybody's on stage saying they're a Christian, they love Jesus and this and that, and their life isn't walking. Well, at that time, I would kind of make judgments in my mind, which is wrong, because really we need to pray for them, because in order for me to say something, you have to pray for that person before you step out, So if we haven't prayed for them and we're stepping out to them, that's not biblical. And of course, I know that now, but back then I didn't even want to be called a Christian.
So let me ask you this. So when you lost, when Reggie passed, and obviously there's a lot of stories out there, but when he passed, how did you grieve, and who was there to support you during those times? Obviously your children were there, but did you have, because now Reggie's been ostracized, I don't know how much of his family, but where was your support? Where did your support come from when you lost Reggie?
I'm gonna say all of my Torah family.
Okay. And
my immediate family, my sister Maria, my brother-in-law Wayne, and just my immediate family, mom and dad. Amazing. My mother grew up Catholic in Spain, and once you're Catholic, it seems like you die Catholic, especially if you're Latin American. And she really took a hold of Reggie's truth. So really, it was not any individual pastor. I can tell you that. It was a group of people, and our tour group was strong, and we had, right now it's founded in truth. It's changed, but right now it's founded in truth, fit. And that's where I got my support from. And honestly, I probably didn't get it soon enough, because I felt like I was a strong woman and I didn't need it. I have to be, I'm the support for everyone else. So it took me a few years to do that mourning, because I was that strong person, had to be strong for everybody else, because Reggie was so many. I didn't just lose Reggie. Everybody lost Reggie. Well, I'm trying to comfort everybody, because it wasn't about me. I was just a wife, so I had to have peace. I had to, hide my issues, so that I could be there for the other people.
Wow. So, because when I think about your story now, I've experienced death in the sense of losing my mom, but I think losing my wife and my children all in one day, I think I can relate to Job. And that is, I think what makes it worse than death is that you don't get the support, especially if you're on the side that's been X'd out or whatever, oust out or whatever, singled out or whatever. So it was hard. It's like you literally lose people. but then you don't have the support. And so a lot of my support came from obviously the ministry that I'm a part of now, Straightway Truth. And so I was just curious to see how did some of the people that I know that when I was playing ball, I was playing for the Packers at that time. I know a lot of our teammates that played with Reggie White went to the funeral and things of that nature. So I didn't know how much of the people in the Christian churches, did they come and support you or reach out to you, or did they kind of stay away? But I know I know the Packer organization came out, but I don't know. Sometimes it's just for TV more than anything. But I don't know how much behind the scenes that they supported you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and Jeffrey Lurie and the Packers, and of course Urban Hope, Mark Burwell, our CEO. He's everything. I can't even give him a title.
Okay.
Mark was really great, and Aaron. But as far as football, I had a few of his really great friends that was really there for me, and the ones that I thought would be there weren't. So it was for the kids too as well. And it hurts. I think for the saddest part for you is that your family is alive. See, I think it's easier to lose them to death than to lose them like you lost them. I don't know if you have to go through a longer mourning period, Kabir, because they are there.
Yeah, I still work through it, but Yah has been good, just giving me strength. It's not as bad, I think I'm at the point of and just like all of us, that more so you come to the point of acceptance. I got a community now, I got new family, and just like you, so it's that's kind of what's getting me through and everything. So, now about this community now. Is this something that your daughter is still doing? Is it something different than what your dad from what Reggie Reggie was doing?
Yeah, so no, Jacoya's spirit is just like Reggie's as far as community.
Okay.
Like Reggie had the 30 acres. I was saying like Jacoya is a lot like Reggie, wanting all her family around her. So yeah, no, Jacoya, she would love to do a community. So that's what I meant. She would love to have the community. That's what she's just like her daddy.
Okay.
Except she can sing and he couldn't.
He couldn't sing. Okay. So the next thing I have is that now I think we're going to try to get some questions here from the audience here. Let me make sure I get this, because there's people that really it says where was Reggie in his walk with God before he passed? I know that, and let me just preface this a little bit. I remember when we were talking to Jeremy last week, he was saying that everybody that saw the TBN, and we had like over close to 300,000 people watch that video on my channel. But he was saying that Reggie was just getting into it, like literally just when he went on TV, and that was just, so where was he by that time when he passed away in his walk with the Most High?
Yeah, TBN, he was just getting, that was in the 90s. That TBN one with that was with Ben Kinslow. That
was what he was still playing?
Yeah.
Oh my God, because I know he plays, last year was 2000. I saw when he played at the Packers. I mean against us when he was with the Panthers. Okay, wow.
Right. His walk, I'm not understanding what that means, but he was still progressing.
Obviously, he was progressing, but how far did he get? I mean, you've obviously lived.
Yeah.
So what did he do? The community? I mean, like, how far did he get before he passed? I guess just where was he? Where did he ended up?
He ended up that he was able to go back to we have a Torah scroll, original Torah scroll we have. So he was where he was now able to read Hebrew, to go to the Hebraic word, the original content, and decipher it. And the idioms, the culture. So now, and that's why he stopped preaching, because he never felt like he was good enough, because he didn't want to go back into how he was as a preacher to halfway give the message. Although he was there, he could have done it. But he just did it in our community. We had different cell groups here in North Carolina, and there was 3 pastors, 2 rabbis. One was a rabbi, but they were, you know, born again. And so it's 3 of them. And then we would get together once every like 5 weeks and minister together as a community. And, you know, we did the feast. He was there. He was way before his time, Kabir, way before his time.
Did he ever get to a point where I mean, you know, as I've been in my walk, I've recognized that, you know, I am a Hebrew Israelite, especially being what we'll call Nigerian descendant. But as I looked into my own heritage and talking to my dad and even connecting the dots with him, you know, he said that he was always taught that they were Egyptians, they were slaves in Egypt, and that they circumcised on the 8th day. But this is the stuff that they learned orally. He didn't know where it came from. It's just my great grandfather was a slave. So I know for sure that I'm a Hebrew Israelite, but I didn't know if Reggie White ever got to the point where not necessarily just being a Hebrew spiritually, meaning putting your faith in Jesus Christ and keeping the commandments, but did he ever connected the dots, you know, where a lot of people now are in this time are connecting themselves to actually being the people of the book?
Right. And that's a very good question, because now, you know, we're doing the DNA test.
Okay.
And, you know, we're all trying to figure out what's going on, where he came from. You know, the 10 lost tribes, he did a lot of that studying. And, you know, we just felt like we were part of a tribe, you know, definitely, you know, and I can't really answer you in particular as far as, you know, if we knew what tribe we belonged to.
Oh, no. I just if he even knew that a lot of the African American, obviously Reggie White is not something that, you know, white, where did them come from? You know, if he can go back into his lineage, it's a good chance he was he obviously had slavery in his but he identified himself with the people of the book. But I don't, and that's why a lot of people didn't know where was he in his mindset. So
okay, so when we went to Egypt, we visited Egypt. Okay. And we were there, and we had a tour guide, and probably about 25 of our family members were with us. And we noticed, I don't know if any of your people went to Egypt, but all the nose were cut off.
Yep.
You know about that, right? They were cut off. And so, of course, our kids are younger, and you're like, why are their nose cut off and blah, blah, blah. Well, so we asked the tour guide, like, so who, we knew the answer. So who built the pyramids? Well, the Israelites built the pyramids. Oh, they volunteered to build the pyramids. This is what they told us. And we're all like, you know, they were slaves, you know. And so, but that guy was so protective. And we knew they cut the nose off because, you know, they were of color, you know. So we knew that we had roots there. If we didn't know it before, we knew it then. And how much the people that were in charge of the tours didn't want to admit to. But yeah, we, you know, my family, we came from slavery, and but my grandmother often defined, she said she didn't pick cotton, she was a teacher, you know, but she came from a slave. But yeah, I just believe that he was more a believer, that he was a child of God, and he had a connection to the Bible, even more because the part of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, basically, right? So, and what were they, right? We are part of that lineage. Specifically, I don't know. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, that's you did a good job, because like I said, I know when I came into this stuff, I remember reading something from Pastor Dow. He had an article about the lost tribe. And I remember, I didn't even know, he was talking about the ships and the 400 years slavery. I didn't even know. I was just trying to keep the commandments, you know, and things of that nature. And then I was like, I mean, I was having dreams and panic attacks. I am a Hebrew, like, for real, like, because I used to ask my dad all the time, like, Dad, I'm like, I'd be asking about my heritage because I went from, I remember writing down literally I would go in there, write from Adam all the way to Jesus Christ. When I was doing the lineage, like every time a name show up, I'll write their name, who got married to who had what, boom, boom, boom. And I said, you know something? I want to know about my family. So I started doing it with my family. I started doing it with American history. And my dad would get frustrated. But now I understood why he was getting frustrated, because part of the Deuteronomy 28, he's just not aware. He was part of the European colony. He was actually around when Nigeria just became an independent country. And so he was under the crown, the English crown, and they were not allowed to really know their own history. They had to speak English. They had to. It was just a lot of stuff that they couldn't even. You talk about the tour guide. My dad couldn't go back and learn that. So it's frustrating when a child is asking his father for stuff that he just doesn't know. And but now we've been reading a book called Hebrew to Negroes, and as I read it to him, it's interesting. My dad, you met my dad, and he remembers you. But as I read my dad, sometimes he looks like he's sleeping because he's dealing with Parkinson's disease. But we're going to pray against that. But it looked like he's sleeping. I'm reading something in the book. Yeah, that's true. That's what we did. And it's like I'm connecting the dots for him. And he's starting to realize that we're the people of the book. And so he's actually helped me by his expressions and how he's reacting, that I'm now connecting back to who I am. So, but I think you did a beautiful job in answering that question. And David now has a question for you. David.
Hey, Sarah, how's it going? This is David.
Hello, David.
Good. Hey,
good to hear your voice.
You too. Thank you so much for being on the show. I have a question from the audience here. It's coming from Sister Brandy. When Reggie White came into the truth or to Torah, was it something that that was revealed to him and personal studying, or is something that he came across through somebody else?
Oh, it was definitely personal. I think it all started when we went to Israel for the first year. And we came back home and started looking at the things we collected and started reading more. Yeah, it was definitely personal.
Okay. So it says, okay, here's another question from the audience. It says, what's the one thing you wish you would have been able to say to Reggie if you could go back?
Ooh, that's a good one. I always say when I see him again, why did you leave me with two teenagers?
You're lucky he didn't leave you with 12, So.
Woo! Yeah. Woo, thank you.
But they can help out. Children can help out in your older age. I'm helping my dad out. So.
Oh yeah. I firmly believe the more kids you have, I believe that half of them will help us. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm so good to my nieces and nephews and, the other kids that we took in, because I know Christopher is going to help me. Mm-hmm. He's not even watching the podcast, but what would I have said? What I wish I would, I truly believe that he may not have known what he was his dreams and visions. But I wish I would have asked him more, because he would tell us about some visions that he had and dreams. And I guess I wish I would have delved deeper to know that his time was coming. I really believe that he knew that it was coming to an end, because that last week he was on the phone for hours at a time ministering to people, and people were calling him saying, thank you. I got saved. And we're talking about Jesus now, right? Mm-hmm. People that he had ministered to 20 years ago, 15 years ago, he started getting affirmations. It was just amazing. Mm-hmm. But I guess that would be it. Okay. You're never prepared. I don't think you're prepared. And I don't know what I would have done. And I guess it wasn't meant to be, but yeah.
Let me ask you, I got a serious question. I'm going to end on a good, loose, fun question. But here's a question I have. So you being the wife of the late, great Reggie White, and you being a woman, being the wife of him, how would you, if you could, talk to my audience, and I believe there's going to be people who can benefit from this stuff, because there's a lot of people that I get where their wives are just really, and I'm not saying it can't happen the other way, but the people that I obviously attract are going through the same thing. But what would you, if you had to speak to a sister that their husband is going through this stuff, because you've gone through it, you are a pro at this stuff, because you actually can speak to this. What would you tell them as their husband is going through this revelation or going through this transition, searching for truth? What would be your advice to them? Especially when you got these women leaving their husbands. Obviously, my situation, but I mean, maybe act like you're talking to my ex-wife or anybody. There's a lot of women that are doing this to their husband and then breaking up homes and things. What would be your advice to them from a motherly advice?
Yes, from a white perspective, mother's perspective is that, of course, we know every situation is different. So even though whatever's going on with the man, if he's trying to find truth, if he's trying to find truth and you know that your husband's trying to find truth for your family, go with him in that path. Join him in that path and don't be combative, because guess what? There's going to be mistakes that he make along the way and that you may understand. But if you're not there to help, the whole family is devastated. Be patient with him. Be patient, because God knows, the word says how much forgiveness you give to people is how much God gives back to you. And if we can forgive and be patient as much as we are with strangers, you know how forgiving we are with strangers. They can knock something down, and if your child knocks it over, you fuss at them. So I would encourage the women to really look at the situation and look where he's going. And now we're saying that he's going to the truth, right? He's leaving. He could have been an atheist going to be a Christian. It's like this. When I married Reggie, I knew he was a minister, right? I knew he was a professional football player.
Yep.
But take it that when you marry someone and they weren't doing something and they grew into it, right? We will hope that the couple is growing with it. But I think it's difficult. Ministry is difficult anyway. So if a man goes into ministry, just same ministry, first he could have been an architect or engineer, and then he decides to do full-time ministry, then that woman needs to be there to support him and understand where the calling is and help, because we are supposed to be a helpmeet to them. And he respects us. It goes both ways, communication. So I would say, women, don't give up and don't challenge, but understand and get together and learn what he's learning. You have to keep it going. Otherwise, it will be confusion, and otherwise the family will split.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, I'm gonna tell you, one problem is you have people getting into your business, trying to tell you what to do. Well, it's like I can hear from the Father just as quick as and more than somebody else telling me what the Father said. Do not come up to, that was one thing I hated. Thus says the Lord. They'll come up to Reggie and I. Thus says the Lord. The Lord told me. Reggie would say, look, until the Lord tells me, then, there it's not going to be a confirmation, because I'm in his word. I'm obeying his word. God can talk to me. So I mean, unfortunately, Kabir, I just, your situation is very uncommon. I really, really think, and unfortunately, the stronghold, God on your family, and just pray. I really believe, I know your kids will come back to you. I do know that, but we just have to continue to pray.
Yes,
it
ma'am.
Never fails.
Yes, ma'am. Let me read something to you before I finish with this other question. But when I think of your name, Sarah, I think of this verse. I want to read two things, because I always do read the Bible here. But it says, for after this manner in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in God adorned themselves, being subject unto their own husband, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughter ye are, as long as you do well and are not afraid with amazement. And I know that, you've shared and we talked privately about, your son even shared how his dad would, if he believed that this pen, if this marker was pagan, it was going to throw it away right now, like right now. And I know I can have the same tendency. I didn't get a chance to do any of that stuff, but I know I have the tendency to do that. But the fact that I know how I'm driven and how I'm wired, I think that it's safe to say that I probably am like a little Reggie. But the fact that you hung in there, I admire you. I thank Yah that he allowed me to get in contact with you, because I tell you, when I was at some of my deepest times, I remember late at night, I was watching the YouTube version of TBN and watching Reggie's stuff. And I said, I was trying to call Reggie's old office number, his cell. I was just trying to call him, like, how do I get a hold of him? And I was very fortunate to get a hold of somebody that Jeremy went to school with. And then he got me in contact with Jeremy, and then Jeremy got me in contact with you. And so I am so thankful that we got to reunite. And because I remember when Reggie was trying to share this with me during my rookie year, maybe my second or third year in the league, about Jesus plus law. And I was clueless, of what he was talking about. And then I want to read one more thing here, 1 Corinthians 14 that you just brought up. In 1 Corinthians 14, it talks about, and I believe it's 1 Corinthians, talks about that how God is not the author of confusion. And that if I'm just going to paraphrase because I can't find it off the top of my head right now. I should be able to, but he was talking about how he's not the author of confusion, that if a woman has a question or wants to learn anything, that she should go to her own husband, so that it'll be a shame for a woman to go around asking everybody instead of going back to your own husband. So that's something that you address about people kind of coming into your guys' business and trying to bring confusion, breaking up the home. So 1
Corinthians 14:33.
Yeah. So those who are listening, 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33. Let me just read it. It says, "For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all the churches of the saints. Let your women keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but that they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for a woman to speak in the church." So I just thought about my situation where, obviously my wife had a lot of questions and going around to a lot of different people, and people spit into her ear. And believe it or not, the Christians really played a part in destroying my home. Obviously, with my ex-wife being in agreement with that. So, but I have a lot of respect for you, Sarah, just because at least I know that there's somebody out there that can love a guy like me. So if you can love Reggie, so it's just good to see that. So here's a question from the fan here, not fan here, but from somebody on the audience here. It says, "Are you still an Eagle fan?"
Absolutely. I love Jeff Laurie and the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
So I am. I'm not particular. Well, I won't even say anything, but yeah, absolutely. I'm an Eagle fan. Yep. And a Packer fan and a Panther fan.
Are you a Cowboy fan too?
Do you and Jeremy?
I'm gonna leave that one to Jeremy. Now, we don't ridicule him, but I have. But see, you know what? Unfortunately, I started that when he was 3 years old, and I got him his first Cowboy T-shirt. I don't know what I was thinking about.
You were the culprit.
I know I started it. This is the problem, right?
Oh no!
Hey, I saw a picture in this book. I believe Jeremy's taking a picture, I think, with Troy Aikman. He didn't look too happy. Was he not excited to take a picture with Troy Aikman?
Troy Aikman, that's another story.
Yeah, right here. I thought I saw a book.
I'm not saying anything about Troy, but I think it was oh yeah. I don't know. But there's a picture of him and Emmett in there.
Oh, okay.
He loves Emmett Smith now.
Okay, that was his guy. Okay.
Emmett is an awesome man, though.
Wow.
Awesome man.
Well, Sarah, it's been a joy to have you. Like I said, you've been one more. We got one more.
Sarah, I just wanted to give you, before we start wrapping things up, I wanted to give you an opportunity. If you do have any, do you have anything that you would like to share, address, that maybe we didn't ask or cover, that you want to get off your chest, or anything like that at all?
Okay, well, there's a couple of things. this is a shameful thing. We just had a wonderful conference at Founded in Truth in South Carolina. That's my fellowship.
Okay.
And I got Rod Woodruff's CD. You look at that. You see, you could go online and get that from him.
Okay.
And then Mason Clover. Now, Mason was part of our original. He's in Dallas or Colorado. No, he's in Colorado. But, you know, because when we did the feast, we did them amongst other brothers and sisters around the, you know, the country, different states. But Mason has a CD out. And then I don't know if you ever heard of Brad Scott. So all these people were in my life when Reggie was alive, is what I'm saying. And we just saw them, you know, Friday and Saturday, they were here with us. And so Brad Scott and Mason Clover and Founded in Truth is our, if you guys ever want to go online and look at Matt, our guy, our teacher, because he was all part of Reggie's congregation.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, and if you haven't listened, I got some emails from a few of your last week.
Okay.
For Jeremy's book, and I just want to specify, when you go to info@lifttutoring.net, make sure you put your telephone number on there so that I could communicate with you better, because lost some time there because all the information wasn't there. So I thank them for supporting Lift Tutoring.
Yes, sir. And we'll give all that information, guys, at the end of the video. Check back in the description, and we're gonna put a lot of the information that Sarah's talking about on the description in terms of Jeremy's information of tutoring and Lift Tutoring and all that. So, but Brother Kabir, I think you had one more question.
Yeah, Sarah. Also, too. I mean, you also. What are you doing now? Now that obviously, it's been some time now. But what are you doing now? What is life like without Reggie? What does life look like for Sarah White now?
So, are we talking about like 2019, like right now?
Yeah, we're in 2019.
2019.
Besides doing the KGB Live Show.
Man, if I could do the KGB Live Show every night, I would be on fire. You know what? We could talk about a lot.
Yeah, you would take over. Yes.
The ESPN guy, I listened to your ESPN when he said, "But man, you're in there for an hour." It's like, okay, dude, if you don't want to listen for an hour, turn off your computer.
Exactly.
Don't be telling me how long I'm gonna do my show. That reminds me when they were trying to tell Reggie with Philly. Reggie started the praying in the middle of the field in Philadelphia for the whole league. He started the prayer in the middle after the game, and Norman Bremen wanted to fine him with $5,000 every time. Well, we weren't getting paid but $100,000 or whatever. But he said, "Okay, then fine me because I'm a pray." And he kept threatening Reggie. Reggie went to the brothers and they said, "Okay, you going to do it, Reggie?" "Yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it." So week after week, we're trying to wait for a fine. He said, "The only way we'll do it is if you donate it to a charity of our choice." So Bremen never went through with it. But Reggie said, "Look, the game is over. People can leave the stadium. They do not have to watch us pray." But it wasn't the people in the stadium. The people wanted them to pray. It was Norman Bremen who did not want to bring prayer into the stadium.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Yes, it's really.
So Sarah, so you're telling me that the prayer that we would do at the end of the game on the middle of the field was something that they're talking about fining?
Reggie started that.
Wow.
Reggie started it.
I was a part of that. Wow.
Yep.
Not a part of the
That's
creation,
the
but I didn't. We used to do it all the time, so I did not know that was a violation or something that you can get fined. Wow.
Yep. I think it was just that they wanted them to stop, and I don't think it was a league rule. It was from the Eagles only.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Who you got there? You got two handsome guys right there to your right of you, Kabir.
I know that.
They are so cute.
Yes. He also got the braids. Well, yeah. How do we get them to be? I'm just joking.
You know what? I used to braid his hair, and it was a lot.
A lot. Oh my goodness. He looks so much like his dad. So what are you doing now? So are you still doing real estate, or how is that? Because I know when I sell my house, I'm gonna have to call you if you're still in the business.
I mean, look here. I will always be in the business because I'm about finance and I'm about teaching people. And one of the most important assets is your house, as you know, right?
Yes, ma'am.
People buy cars every year. It's like you guys are wasting money. You need to drive that car till it falls apart. But that's just my opinion. But yeah, I'm still in real estate. But this year I'm trying to work on Sarah's health. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm doing a little bit of real estate, but we still have our company. And I'm still nurturing buyers. I still have people that I help. Yes.
Yes.
And actually, I really need to get back to my blog because, you never know who you can reach through this medium thing. It's amazing with this YouTube stuff,
Oh yeah, matter of fact, let us know. So guys, please, if we're gonna, is it okay if we have people check out your channel, Sarah?
Okay, yeah, so that's good. Yeah, Jeremy's laughing. Yeah, my channel. Listen here, I got 20 people. But it's my problem because I really haven't been really faithful. It's Ask Sarah White. Ask Sarah White. Ask Sarah White. That's what it is. And it was, and then you know how you get busy. Okay, I'm not gonna make an excuse, but you know what? Since I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna get back on it. I'm gonna have to be diligent. I have so much information that I just need to give. And then CLT Residential, like he said, that's our company. It's Charlotte Residential, but CLT Residential is our website for the company. But if anybody has any real estate questions, they can just email me. I would be happy to help.
Well, we're going to get your information, Sarah, and we're going to put that in our description so that people, if they want to real estate, check out your YouTube and stuff like that. So, but Sarah, I really do appreciate you. You are a woman of strength, especially dealing with the late Reggie White and how, I mean, just this, he was a great man. He was a great man on and off the field, and you're the person behind the scenes supporting him publicly and privately, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't like it was cakes, but I really appreciate you. So thank you so much for coming on our show, and hope we can have you again in the future, if that's okay.
Well, Kabir, it's been a pleasure, and you be blessed. And I have confidence, faith, and we have understanding that what you're going through and how you're presenting it to people, you're helping a lot of people. And I appreciate your transparency. It's good.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. And I appreciate your late husband because I've been able to get more of the truth out just by his testimony. You guys doing my show, and so. Our subscription is going up. So I do want to encourage you, do your own YouTube channels. People really would like to hear what you have to say. And you have a lot of wealth of information and wisdom, just what you've gone through. Not too many people can say they're the wife of a great man like Reggie White. And obviously you have done a lot of great things yourself. So
thank you.
I encourage you in that. Love you. And
love you too.
Om Shalom. Well, guys, I guess we're going to close out here. Any announcements?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So, guys, you guys already know. So coming up, the Berean Moment on Wednesdays. Make sure you guys go check out the next episode. We have a special guest on there. We won't name any names. We're going to save it until you guys see it. Also, Sister to Sister will be on every single Thursday on Blog Talk Radio, Straightway Truth, at 6 p.m. every Thursday, Central Standard Time. Also, Blog Talk Radio with Pastor Dal at 7 p.m. every single Friday, Central Standard Time. If you guys have any questions about the ministry, any questions for Pastor, or just want to make yourself known to the ministry, make sure you guys call that number and get yourself in touch that way. And then also straightway.com to watch Shabbat services at 11 a.m. every single Sabbath / Saturday. And that's pretty much it, Brother Kabir.
Hey guys, but I just want to close, guys. Like I said, I really appreciate Sarah, guys. Hey, some of you guys that are dealing with coming into this truth, trying to keep your family together. Hey, maybe this would be a great show to be able to share with your loved one, your wife, to be able to hear from a woman who actually experienced her husband going through this transition and how she was able to be there to the very end. I mean, to death do her part, do them part. and she did it. And so I think there's a lot of wealth of information and wisdom from Sara. So maybe this is an opportunity for you to share that with your loved ones. But until then, I'll see you guys next week. And this has been a great show. I appreciate the White family. I appreciate Jeremy, Sara White, Reggie White, the late Reggie White. So guys, we will just continue.
Shout out to her daughter too.
Yeah, and also to
I forget her name.
oh yeah, Jaconi. I think it's Jaconi. But I would like to interview her one day. But the community, because of her community mind. So anyway, you guys have a good day, and shalom, shalom.